Hi YouTube, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about highlighters a little bit, a subject very dear to my heart, and the idea of this video was really promoted by Lara Martin, who's a YouTuber on here. I've mentioned her before, a friend of mine, and we subscribe to each other's channels, and I would definitely recommend taking a look at her channel if you like mine. She does far more makeup demonstrations than I do, but we both love particularly luxury makeup products that are suitable for women, shall we say, who are a little more mature in age, and we're both quite fair skinned, so we have similar tastes in colour schemes and so on and so forth. Anyway, I do recommend her channel. She has adapted the kind of makeup tag that's been going around in relation to various products. I've certainly done it in relation to foundations for highlighters. And if you've watched my channel before, you'll know that highlighters are a particular love of mine. I think a good highlighter can add just wonderful luminosity to the skin, which is sadly missing as one gets older. I know people say it's very important not to overdo things. I do like shiny, bright things generally in life, so maybe I do overdo the highlighter occasionally, but I just love the look. So let's move with the tag straight away, and it asks us to identify the newest highlighter, and my newest is from Holiday Collection by MAC. What's it called? Let It Glow Extra Dimension Skin Finish. So the skin finishes are not described as highlighters. You're able to use them, or the theory is, all over the face. And I do generally subscribe to that for highlighters as a whole. I think if you use a light brush, a feather brush, you can use most highlighters except the very brightest as a sort of finishing powder if you want to add luminosity. And indeed the liquid ones are great for adding to foundation or BB cream, and I'll talk a bit about that later. So this one is the MAC's Christmas edition. They did it in several colours. I went with this silver white one because it's more unusual to get the cool tone silver white highlighters. You can see very pretty, not the softest, smoothest of powders, and it doesn't have multifacets. It's very much a white silver, but very pretty, and I'm pleased with it. I bought it really thinking it was quite similar to a Chanel one that I'll mention again later, but here it is. It's Camellia des Plumes, which it's just the most beautifully presented highlighter, but it's also, for me, quite an unusual colour because it's much softer, much more pigmented than the MAC one, but it's very much just a fairly one-dimensional pure white silver highlighter, and I haven't got many of those. They're hard to come by, so I do like using this, but I don't like destroying the beautiful camellia plumes, so this one was really bought to use as a cheaper alternative to that, and so that's my new one. Oldest, I had some difficulty thinking about which this was, and I came to the conclusion this, if it counts as a highlighter, is probably my oldest. It's a Laura Mercier product. I haven't actually looked if they still do it, which is called Secret Finish. And it wasn't really promoted as a highlighter as such, but it just said it restores radiance and refreshes your makeup. So I used to use this in the days before highlighters were as popular as they are now. It's a cream. You can see it's not super shiny. It adds more of the sort of glow that some of the gel highlighters, I showed you a Gucci one that I got a few videos ago this autumn. So a very natural luminous look. And that was the first kind of makeup product that I bought that did that. And I went through a lot of tubes of this. This one's been around for a while. As I say, I don't know if they still make it, but that's probably my oldest highlighter. Most affordable, also an oldie. I had this for ages. Benefit. Benefit are a good cheap to mid-priced range. They do some good products. I don't love all of them. This is a kind of mid-toned, pinky pearlized high beam. I think they do others now. They do a more kind of sun-kissed look, but this was the one I always liked, with a little applicator brush, and you pat it in, and it's a lovely pink pearlized colour. And I don't know what the price is, but very affordable. So that's my most affordable. I don't think we had a most expensive. I haven't picked one out for that. We've had the Worth the Hype. Now, again, it's difficult to distinguish this from ones that I love. So I tried to look at it in terms of ones that have had a lot of publicity, a lot of hype, and I generally agree with. This may be controversial. It's rather disgusting now. I hate the NARS packaging. As it ages, it gets all sticky and yucky. This is a NARS Orgasm. What are they called? Blush sticks? Shimmer sticks, I think they're called. Something like that. I'm not sure whether they are meant to be highlighters. This one, when it applies, which is in the very famous Orgasm, I can kind of use as a combined blush highlighter. You can see there's a fair amount of colour there. Some of the others, I have one called Copacabana, I think, is very much more a highlight. But this has a kind of shimmer in it as well. So if that's not cheating, I would say this was a very hyped product at the time, and Orgasm continues to be one of the most hyped shades in makeup because it is flattering to so many people. And while that tube has got rather yucky over time, the actual product is absolutely fine. And I thought the other one that sprung to mind as being worth the hype was a couple of years ago when Estee Lauder did their collaboration with Victoria Beckham. And she picked a highlighter called Modern Mercury. Now, I know that the highlighter was not a reimagining other than in the packaging by Victoria Beckham. It had already been in the Estee Lauder arsenal, as it were, and they do some beautiful highlighters. I think they were amongst the first companies, if not the first, to do this kind of jelly to powder formulation that is so popular in highlighters now, and I personally love. So she brought this out in beautiful, I should say, Estee Lauder brought this out in beautiful, stylish, very heavy packaging. I'd not had it before. I have used it a lot, but you can see there's loads of product left. And it is this beautiful jelly powder formula and a beautiful mid gold, you can see, with lots of shine, very buildable, or you can apply it quite lightly with a fan brush and gives this beautiful sun-kissed look, which is very flattering on a lot of different skin tones. So I definitely think this product was worth the hype, and it's still going strong for me. Not worth the hype. Charlotte Tilbury, I'm not a fan of her powder highlighter. The one I had, I don't have it anymore because I dropped it and it all smashed up, was with a bronzer in very, very beautiful, nostalgic packaging, but I didn't love the formula. The other thing that was very hyped was the Hollywood formula, and this was called the Beauty Light Wand, and comes with this kind of sponge, which I'm not fond of for starters because it's all a bit gucky. It's a liquid highlighter, but and it's very pretty as is, But I think it's to do with the sponge applicator. If it was in a packaging that was like this, I would find it much easier to use. But because you kind of have to slightly press down, I found that it tended to wipe out any blush or contouring or even foundation that I had underneath. I did kind of learn to use it by kind of squeezing little blobs and then working with a brush rather than the sponge applicator, but that rather defeats the purpose of the so-called easy sponge applicator. So although the actual liquid itself is very pretty, very metallic, I didn't think that was worth the hype. Most unique, I really struggled with this because I have so many highlighters. I'm not sure any are particularly unique. In terms of the effect, this will probably appear in other categories because it's a great favourite of mine. Not that one. So many Dior. This one, the Dior Nude Skin Luminizer in number 6, which is the holographic. I haven't found one that has such a pretty multifaceted finish so that it looks white, it looks purple, it looks pink. It truly is holographic, and I love it. It might be a bit too stark for some people, but I think it's pretty unique in the effect it gives. I also wanted to push into this category this product from Guerlain, Terracotta Sun in the City. This is quite an old product again. I rate Dior and Guerlain as the nicest highlighters overall. Beautiful consistency. And I just had to show you this one. It's unique to me because it's very strong gold. And as highlighters go, it's probably a bit much, really. Almost whatever skin tone you are, that is pretty strong. And I don't wear it very often. I tend to bring it out at party time rather than in the summer. I suppose if you were quite dark skinned, you might get more use out of it throughout the year. And I do use it as an eyeshadow, actually. So in the sense of the shade it is, it's quite unique. And it beautiful product, but just not that wearable, I suppose, most of the time. My favourite, I guess, would be, well, I'm going to kind of divide it between two different categories. Favourite from my favourite brand, I think, is the actual tag. I've shown you the Dior one. I have others. I think there are 6 or 7 at the moment, and I've got the rose gold and the nude. They're beautiful highlighters. Couldn't recommend them highly enough. And then I love Guerlain, and I think they're beautiful highlighters. So if I were to show you my probably all-time favourite highlighter by Guerlain, I don't use it very often. It's very precious. This was a very hyped product as well back in the day. It's called Cruel Gardenia. How pretty is that? Just beautiful presentation. And it's a pinky rose. This is quite old, and you can still see how beautiful the consistency of the formula is. And it's a really pretty peachy pink shade that looks absolutely adorable on the cheeks. So that's probably my favourite of all time. And so also when I'm asked if I could only have one, in many respects, because this is so beautiful, even though I don't wear it all that often because it's so precious, I should really, shouldn't I? This probably would be the one for me. Every day, I tend to kind of swap about. I do wear that Dior one I've shown you a lot. Last year's Christmas Eclat Magnétique from Chanel, I think is a good everyday highlighter if you can bear to disturb the pattern. Again, it's a kind of mid rosy colour, slightly more golden than the one I just showed you. But it's quite a soft highlighter. It's not too kind of see it from space. So quite a good one for every day, particularly if you like a reasonably warm highlighter. So that's a good everyday one. And I also wanted to mention one thing you can do with liquid highlighters, the advantage over the powder ones, which I generally like for kind of conventional highlighting of the cheeks, the brows, so on and so forth, is to mix a few drops of your liquid highlighter in with your foundation. It gives a lovely glowy foundation. So if you have a matte, if you buy a foundation that's too matte for you, then you can zhuzh it up with a few drops of your liquid highlighter. Even something like the Benefit High Beam is absolutely fine for that. And I don't think you need to splash out on expensive liquid highlighters like, for example, the Chanel Pearl Drops and whatever the more goldeny coloured ones they have. Is it now in the Lait Beige range? I'm not sure. I have had them in the past, but I think they're overpriced for what they are. A good one that I like, and you can see I'm using at the moment, is by Terry, because this is a treatment as well, supposedly. The Brightening CC Serum, Rose Stem Cells treatment. I've got the very cool light one. There's a whole range of them in different colours to suit your complexion. You can use them as a highlighter, but you can also use them as a kind of base underneath your foundation, or just add a few drops to your foundation to get the benefit of the treatment and the luminosity. So I think that's a great everyday product and use of a highlighter. I added a category of my own, most beautiful. I mean, the Cruel Gardenia, I think, would fall in that category. But I just wanted to end again with the Chanel Camellia one. I think that is just a beautiful, beautiful. It's beautiful to use, but it's beautiful to look at in the compact, isn't it? So those were my tag items. Hope you've enjoyed. If you're still here at the end and have, a thumbs up is always appreciated. And until next time, bye for now.